Welcome to Tammany Tech 101. I'm Grant Black, Director of Technology for St. Tammany Parish Government. Our goal is to ensure that our citizens grow in their digital literacy. Today on Tammany Tech, we have Shawn Torres, CEO of In-Telecom. So Shawn, tell me about In-Telecom. You're CEO. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so I founded In-Telecom with a college roommate of mine back in 2009. We had an idea that we would go out and review people's telecom expenditure and do some telecom expense management. At the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, we kind of fell into doing our first phone system for a client because we were their telecom consultant. They wanted us to do their phone system.
They trusted you.
They trusted us, and we did it. Over time, we evolved as an organization into a full technology firm. We're broken up into 3 divisions today. We have our voice division that does voice over IP services, pretty much telco services for businesses.
Sure.
We have our managed service division that does anything from networking to managing day-to-day operations from IT, as well as pre-planning software, hardware, you name it. And then we have our security division that actually does physical and cybersecurity for organizations.
Nice. And you're based in Slidell?
We're based out of Slidell. Yep.
Still there?
Still here.
You have government, commercial clients?
Yeah, today we're managing, from a municipality perspective, we have contracts and agreements with about 130 statewide municipalities in the state of Louisiana. So ranging from St. Tammany Parish to LSU to City of New Orleans to...
So LSU is a big one.
A huge one, huge win for us. It's been exciting. So, we're trying to do everything we can to educate people in the community. We've been heavily involved in tech. I've always liked technology. I didn't have a technology background. I have a marketing degree. I just always got excited. When I was a young kid, I played video games. I still play video games today. And I was never really this computer guy, and I just was always really good with software. I think it kind of attributes back to fixing problems.
Sure.
And I just always got intrigued in business and asking people questions on things they needed help with. And I felt that so many people had such a problem, especially on the North Shore. We didn't have a big IT firm.
We did not.
Everybody was in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and everybody kept asking me, like, why are you trying to create this tech company on the North Shore? There's no business for you to be here. So obviously the growth in our community and our parish has been, extraordinary for us.
Right place at the right time.
Yes. And a lot of businesses moving here, and we're able to help them. We're able to help them expand. That's helped us expand. That's how we've grown so much over the past, 14 years. Is surely our client base expanding and growing, and we grow.
Well, you travel down I-12, and you can't help but see In-Telecom vans driving back and forth.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah, we have several service trucks running around the community, able to service same day. It's always been my mission to make sure that I look at our client relationship on how I would want to be treated, someone servicing me. So I'm really big on servicing the client same day, first call resolution, to make sure we can be there and support.
Well, what I get from you guys when I talk to you is always, we're here to help. And
Absolutely.
that's really the first thing you guys are is, as soon as there's something going on, well, look, let's stop, what's the problem? Let's solve the problem, as opposed to I'm trying to sell you the latest tool.
Yes. I mean, look, you can buy as many tools as you possibly can, but at the end of the day, you have to really understand what the client issue is to make sure that you never want buyer's remorse. You never want anybody to waste money and spend money on something that isn't necessary for the organization.
Sure.
We would not have the longevity we've had today with doing that. So it's our mission to offer the best client experience. We recognize that we don't have anything proprietary. I didn't invent a widget.
Well, there's no point in doing that. I mean, you really want to go out there and just pick best of breed. So, okay, these are the best tools that we recognize today that we can push forward. And that's kind of your goal as a company.
Yes. I mean, we stay up on the latest technology trends. We're at every trade show possible, training, educating. As much as we can get the information out into the community, the better.
Well, I know when you go to the conferences, a lot of times you'll send something back to me. Hey, you need to look at this product.
Yes.
That's
how you learn.
Sure.
You talk to other MSPs in the community. You get involved in the things that are out there. We lean on our client base too. I'll learn from you all the time and telling me, hey man, have you seen this product set? I think that's a better way to go about it. There's not always a best product. It's about what's out there.
Sometimes it's what fits in our environment better with the talent we have. And that's a lot of times when you get into IT, this may be the absolute best product, but again, I can get 90% of the way there with something that really fits in with my guys and they get and we can monitor and handle.
Yes, you don't want to overcomplicate it.
Correct.
I think that's some of the bigger issues today is if you overcomplicate it, then that's when mistakes happen.
I agree.
So the least complicated it can be, the better.
So I want to talk to you because as soon as office motor vehicles got hit, immediately you guys sent out a here's what you can do, here's how you can protect it. I want to go into just a real quick breakdown of how it happened, what happened. It was much bigger than what I think some people realize. So timeline, May 27th, right, Memorial Day weekend. First trace of exploitation in Sophos' log. This is from Sophos. May 31st, Progress releases the first patch. So 4 days from the time of exploitation to the time that they released their first patch. June 4th, public attribution to the Clop ransomware group. So immediately we know who did it. June 5th, Sophos posts a blog with information on the attacks and mitigations. So they knew exactly how they got in, what happened, and here's how you can start to mitigate in addition to the patch. June 9th, right, so we're only about 2 weeks in, second patch. June 16th, third patch. So I mean, they were patching, and they were really on top of what they needed to do. July 5th, Progress announces a service pack model, basically moving to a service pack model update instead of just patching vulnerabilities. Like, okay, we're going to start actively pushing patches out. Kroll.com says that there's evidence that Clop was in there since 2021.
I believe it.
So they were sitting around for a year and a half before anything happened.
Typically they're waiting and looking for, the way you're doing your backups, the way you're, accessing the vulnerabilities to avoid being caught, and then waiting for the right time to strike.
Which is information gathering, right? Mapping your network, where can we go and what more can we get? How deep can we get before you actually let yourself be known?
Yes, I mean, we've went in on several clients that have had, attacks happen, and then they always ask us like, well, why did this happen? How did it happen? And typically they're in the network for 6 months to a year prior to something even happening.
So, but there are products that will help you notice the people are in there.
Oh, absolutely. There's several ways to do it to prevent vulnerabilities and constantly scanning and looking. Most people don't realize that not having the right logging tools that are understanding, malicious behavior and traffic that's happening inside the network, because most of us don't know how to go look at that on the back end.
Sure.
Is where trouble starts.
Well, even if you have the tools, are you looking at it?
Correct. Are you
getting alerted when something's happening? And what are the thresholds for your alerts, which I think a lot of people...
There's so much log fatigue that happens.
Absolutely.
And things that happen on a daily basis is, that could throw those alarms that may look like malicious behavior, but they're really not. It makes it extremely difficult to really figure out what's real and what's not real. That's why having the right setup there and the right tool that's using AI today to find those things is critical. Bringing on a good partner and having multiple eyes looking at things is critical. That's what we do.
So that brings us to the cyber kill chain, right? So it's, okay, the vulnerability is there. Now, how did they get in? So in this case, they went out and they said, okay, they said, we're in. We know that MoveIt is vulnerable. So they went internet-facing MoveIt file transfer servers. What can I get to quickly and what's open, right? That's the first thing they went to. Then they have create a SQL injection attack right away. Deliver SQL injection through a web interface. They went right in through that web interface, drop SQL injection into your back-end code. Code is remotely executed, so then now you got the command and control servers. You're actually calling home. Then deploy the payload. So now you got your virus, ransomware, whatever it is that they want to put out there is just dropped in. Then you're extracting data. You're putting ransomware on. I mean, that chain is just, you see it every time.
Well, it happens in seconds too, so it doesn't take long for them to get in and do what they need to do. And a lot of times what ends up happening is they get there through some type of PowerShell activity that you don't recognize, that it may look like you're just clicking yes or no or whatever it may be on your computer, and you think, oh, nothing happened, and it goes away. Yeah,
it pops up and disappears real quick, and it's hard to notice that you've gotten hit until all of a sudden there it is on your computer.
Yes.
So for us, the Office of Motor Vehicles got hit. Citizens data was leaked, which, Office of Motor Vehicles wasn't the only one. BBC, British Airways, Schneider Electric, Deutsche Bank, Sony, Shell, Ernst & Young, Deloitte. I mean, when I went through this list, there was, I think it was 190 pages of 10 rows each of companies that got hit. So the Office of Motor Vehicles was not the only one.
Oh, no. I mean, it happens every day.
This was large scale.
And these are just large organizations that are publicizing this. I mean, 75% of the organizations that get hit today don't publicize the information that they were hit.
Absolutely.
Because of fear of outcome of what could happen to them, their client base, their vendors, whatever it may be.
Sure. So what got me, I mean, as soon as this happened, I'm looking at it and I'm like, we should send something out to our employees, let them know. As I'm thinking this, your company, In-Telecom, sends out the email of, hey, here's what the citizens can do to support themselves, to help themselves and to protect themselves. And I said, well, that's a really good corporate citizen there. That's not your customers. You're sending that out like, hey, here's how citizens can help, help themselves.
We saw it happen. We recognized that this was a major issue and it wasn't really something to take lightly. This is people's personal information, social security numbers, addresses. I mean, this is everything that they can go do to fill out a credit card or a loan.
Sure.
So immediately when it happened, I caught wind of it. Our cyber guy came to me and said, Shawn, are you aware what happened today within the state? I said, I'm not. He showed me, and I literally immediately said, we need to get communication out to our clients, we need to get communication out to our employees, we need to get communication out to the community so they have a better understanding of what they need to do. My phone was ringing off the hook after that because they were calling me, like asking me, clients, friends, is this real? And I was like, oh, it's real. Like, you should do it,
Yeah,
and I've always been a big component of LifeLock and having my credit protected, just,
So why LifeLock? What do they do for you that you wouldn't have normally?
It tells me when my credits ran. It tells me when different activity happens personally on myself. It tells me I have it hooked up, connected to a bunch of my personal accounts that show me when things are done differently. I'm MFA across the board on every single thing that I use.
So when you say MFA, what do we mean by
multi-factor authentication. So everything that I touch today, whether it be Hulu to Disney Plus, all have multi-factor to where when we go to log in, it sends an alert to my cell phone and then allows me to log in. Therefore, if someone else tries to log in with my information, I can actually, I would know, I would get an alert, and it's not me trying to log into it.
So basically something you have, like your phone, something like a password, or something you are, like biometric. I mean, it's two of those.
Yes, always.
Together.
On everything that we do today. And I think that's so important that a lot of the people in the community don't recognize how important it is to have MFA on all your devices, Hulu. People don't, most people will use the same password for every single thing. And it's easier to manage, and I get that. The risk with that is if someone hacks Hulu, or they get into Hulu, and now they have your email address and your password, what's to stop them to go log into your bank account?
Well, so you have the password apps where people put all their passwords in the app, and then I think it was LastPass got hit, and all your passwords are out. But if you have MFA, you're less at risk.
Yes, the risk is always there.
Sure.
MFA just it does add an additional step to log into things, and most users give pushback on that. But at the end of the day, my mother-in-law, who doesn't even use online banking, someone was able to get their information and actually set up online banking for her checking account at Capital One and move money out of her account into another account. Just from, I guess, getting the mail. Nobody really even knows how it was set up. But that's where I think it's so important to have these things set up and have MFA on them, because it could have avoided it.
So now she has MFA?
She does. She does.
And how is she dealing with that? I mean, is she comfortable with it?
Yeah, I mean, I had to show her how to use it. I had to show her how to log into her phone. I mean, I set her up a Hulu account, and even that as well. Like, you're teaching a non-technical user on how to use technology, but I do believe that the world we live in today it's so important to have these things, because it's too easy to we have so many logins and passwords today. When you look at all the devices and things we use, whether it be paying our bills online, banking, streaming television, logging into travel. There's so many things that you should be setting up MFA on to protect yourself, so you know that it doesn't happen.
Well, I think 10 years ago you could say, well, I'm going to opt out. I'm not going to use technology. I'm just going to avoid it. But you look at your mother-in-law, even if she chose to opt out, someone opted her in, and
the day of avoiding technology is just it's inevitable. The more that we demand on it, as human beings on Earth, across the board, the more that vulnerable we become every day. And I think we forget we live in this place of complacency of that, oh, it's not going to happen to me, but this happens every single day. The average cyber attack last year was $4.2 million. That's published, right? So you think about that. that's detrimental to a small business.
So you look at the small businesses that are getting hit. I mean, they get hit more often than people realize. Are we paying ransoms? Are we trying to recover data without paying ransoms? Where?
I think there's some of that. I think there's some of paying them just to get through it and move on. I think a lot of people think that they have the right insurance policy and the insurance policy will cover it, but the insurance companies are looking at the risk on some of these accounts and they're starting to set some guidelines and stipulations depending on the size risk. We're consistently having to change our cyber policy at our company because of the client base that we're managing today. So we have to continue to up my policy just to make sure that if something happens, I can not cover just my risk, it's the risk of everybody that we're working for. So I think what a lot of people don't recognize, it's not always just about your protection, it's making sure are your vendors protected. Vendor management is critical when it comes down to a business. They should be asking those questions to their vendors.
Well, you find now vendor management has become a huge issue almost anywhere across the industry. Of are you managing your vendors? Do you understand what's required of vendors in cybersecurity today? And to your point, I mean that's exactly it. So one industry may require more insurance than another, may require something special that another industry doesn't. So Sarbanes-Oxley, SOX things in public, or if you go to government customers, we have a whole different set of requirements, and you have to keep a track of all of that.
It's all this different compliancy based on the organization. The FTC just came in for automobile dealerships and are treating them as a financial institution because technically they are.
Well, they deal with a lot of money, yeah.
It's your second biggest purchase that as a direct consumer. They have all of your information. They have your banking information, your payroll. It's the same thing. So they came in and set stipulations and guidelines, not just on cyber, but what happens to this information? How is this information transferred from one place to the next? I mean, we're doing audits for clients today, showing them what that risk looks like. And then, we're getting some pushback from clients that don't want to make changes on, at one point they were.
That's a big change. I mean, they're going from, okay, we're a car dealership to, okay, we're a bank and car dealership. Now you have all the banking restrictions and all the automotive restrictions at the see time.
Yes, and it's tough. I mean, they just want to conduct business, but at the same time, also, I'm glad that the FTC is coming in and putting these stipulations in on these organizations because they should. I say it time and time again, like for me to put electricity in a building, I have to have a licensed electrician. Why, as me as a technology integrator, why wouldn't I have to have certain certifications or licensing to work on environments?
Well, I think we're finally seeing that this rules and laws around cyber are starting to catch up. I think ransomware has really been the big thing because it's so expensive to get hit. The laws are catching up on technology faster because of it.
Yes, you have to. I mean, and as fast as that industry is moving, just when we think we could come up with a new tool or a new process, I mean, these are very intelligent people, so they are able to overcome those tools and systems they have, and they're able to get in. So I've had a lot of clients ask me, and people ask me, like, how do I get 100%?
Yeah.
There is no way, I mean, get rid of all your staff, have one person.
Well, I think you get to like 9 nines of compliance, okay, we're good.
Yes. I mean, you can overcomplicate it too.
Sure.
There are ways to overcomplicate it for an organization too. So there is a such thing as too much security as well that can then hurt the organization.
Sometimes going from 99 to 100 is your most expensive step.
Yes, very expensive.
So when we come back, we're going to continue talking with Shawn Torres with In-Telecom. We'll get into some of the details about how business clients and citizens can protect themselves.
We have world-class amenities with a small-town vibe.
What I love about the North Shore is the people, they're friendly.
How you doing? A good handshake, just genuine.
Well, I like the family-oriented environment that it provides. I love all the things that families can do.
I'll point right out here, the lakefront. It's one of the crown jewels of St. Tammany.
The food's incredible. For how small of a town it is, it really will blow your mind how good the food is.
I love the openness, the space.
Spacious.
Space.
The nature here is a really wonderful thing to experience, all of the excursions that you can take part of.
This area, it sells itself. It is absolutely beautiful, as you can see. So that's why we're doing an interview right here.
Shopping.
Shopping.
The arts community is growing, and
go to Brooks Bike Shop, rent some bikes, and take off.
I've lived all over the world, and I always keep coming back because it's home.
great hotels,
There's tons of free concerts that go on all the time.
bed and breakfast.
Great festivals and community events that draw people into our parish.
It's easy. It's easy and relaxing.
Gemütlichkeit. It's just like all around being happy.
I guess life just slows down a little bit more. And look at this river. It's gorgeous.
We love our Louisiana North Shore.
We love our Louisiana North Shore.
We love our Louisiana North Shore.
We love
Our Louisiana
North Shore.
And we're back on Tammany Tech 101 with Shawn Torres, CEO of In-Telecom. So we're going to continue talking about the Office of Motor Vehicles hack and kind of what people can do. And I know I was walking into an event, I think last Wednesday night, and my wife called and said, hey, someone just charged $19,000 on a credit card. It's like, well, it's not us. And then, so I'm kind of looking into it, trying to figure out what's going on. Then she calls, someone just tried to charge another 10. Like, what is happening? So that was the same credit card we had used multiple places, including Office Motor Vehicles, but it could have been any one of them that the data got leaked. So what can individuals do to protect themselves?
I think setting up limitations through your credit card company and making sure that those items are set forth. I mean, typically most consumers are spending money in the same place and not spending over a certain amount.
It's like a geofence?
A geofence, or even like an approval process that allows, like on our credit cards, personally and in the company, we've set up limitations to where American Express will reach out to us when a charge or a transaction goes over a certain amount.
Yeah. And that's what happened to us. We got a call and they basically got shut down immediately.
Typically, most of the credit card companies today are good at catching it. I think from our perspective, when you look at it from a business, and a business has so many transactions going on, how do you do that? How do you navigate that?
I think it's much harder for a business because you have so many people doing so many different things, and one person may go out and buy $50,000 of equipment. Someone else, salesperson, may be spending a couple $100 at dinner.
How do you know what's real and what's not real?
Yeah.
I think you have to have those controls in place and understand that. Mitigating where you use your credit card, what Wi-Fi you get on when you're doing things like that. Don't go to Starbucks and log on your bank account.
Talk about Wi-Fi and like VPNs and those kind of things. Are VPNs important on your phone?
Yes. Connecting into things and being on public Wi-Fi and going to Starbucks and getting on things, like what people don't realize is that it's very easy to be in an airport and for them to be able to log into that same Wi-Fi. You're on the same network and now they have access into your system.
We're standing up a fake Wi-Fi.
Yes.
It looks just like it.
And you connect to it and it's broadcasting internet connectivity, and then everything you do, they can see, they can look at keystrokes from passwords. So
what does a VPN do to kind of mitigate some of that?
It logs you into a virtual private network that segments that traffic outside of that network, and then now your security tools that you've put into play now actually can work.
So you get a VPN software for your phone, turn your VPN on, then connect to your Wi-Fi.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's several ways to do that and to be safe, but the biggest recommendation I can always make is when you're logging into bank accounts, credit cards, things of that nature, like be aware of your surroundings and what you're doing and where you're doing it.
Sure.
You'd be better off being on a Verizon or AT&T network over cellular than being on someone's Wi-Fi.
Absolutely.
Connecting to those things, because you never know what vulnerabilities that they have.
So you had mentioned in your email about locking your credit. So what are the steps? Do you just call the credit, the Experian and TransUnion?
You can call Experian, TransUnion. There's companies out there.
LifeLock before. Basically, it's a one-stop shopping. Click the button and you're done.
It's done, right? I mean, that does cost money. To me, I think the investment is worth it. It's very inexpensive.
Protecting your credit, right? I mean, what's that worth?
Yes, a lot. I mean, it's especially where interest rates are today. I mean, there's big risk that's involved, and I think a lot of people that don't check their credit often, they don't pay attention to that. That could be detrimental to a business owner. That could be detrimental to a first-time home buyer, automobile buyer, whatever it may be. So I think that it's so important to put that. I've actually had that since I was a kid. There was a time where I went to buy a car, and I went in and bought a car, and I got a 13% interest rate, not really knowing. When I got a job at a financial institution, they ran my credit and told me I had bad credit. And I'm like, well, I never bought anything before. And this was years ago. There was actually somebody that actually used my credit and got connected with the CDs that they used to send to your house with music, and ordered a bunch of CDs, and it was written off of my credit. I didn't even know about it. So, I mean, this has been going on since, you know, forever, but today it's just easier to access that information and get it. So
it used to be you had to steal something, but now it's all virtual.
Yes.
They don't have to see you. I mean, you don't have to see them. It's
yes. I mean, there's Credit Karma. You know, there's apps you can download on your cell phone that can show you the activity and what's going on your credit to make sure that those things don't happen.
So you go into business. How are you protecting business clients? What do you guys do to kind of protect them and make sure that their data is staying in?
Backup is critical. Making sure that backup's set up right. Making sure that backup is monitored and looked at. You know, encrypted data that needs to be transmitted. You know, financial documents, things of that nature. Educating the client, I think, is the most important piece, and educating the staff. I think security awareness training is the #1 piece of it. We can put every tool, we can put everything into play, but until you train and educate your staff, they won't know. You know,
You have to know where the vulnerabilities are, where the holes are, make sure that those holes are getting fixed. You know?
Yes, in educating them by experience. You know, we do internal phishing attempts to our clients to where we're phishing them to see what they click on. When they click on it, they get brought to a video to do some training. We're actually implementing this into our clients' HR policy.
That's great.
I think that managing it like a sexual harassment policy is just as critical.
Now, we've done the same thing. So when someone does click on the phishing attempt or have that error, the computer goes away and you get the training video. When you complete the training, then you earn your computer back.
Yes, yes. But you should do that on a consistent basis and change up the way you're doing it. Some other ways and things that we've done for clients is we go into their office and drop USB jump drives and load data on them, and then see if the employees plug it into the computer and you know, try to access files. That's how those things can happen.
Yeah, it's like the kid with the toy on the ground. Like, some people can't help it.
They can't help it. They want to pick it up and they want to click on it. You know, and again, it allows you to educate them because they don't really understand the vulnerabilities. And look, the phishing attempts are getting very good.
They are.
They look identical to what an email should look like.
Even changing like Cyrillic characters. I mean, they do little things like that you don't notice that it's there, and all of a sudden that link you're clicking on is not what you thought it was.
Yes. I mean, there was a big one going around for the consumer base that it was a Disney Plus one that was saying that you get ESPN and Hulu for free, and you go in and they want you to put your password into your Disney account because most individuals are using that same username and password, and they're literally just getting the data. They're not doing anything with the information. You can do dark web. You know, we do dark web scans for all of our clients today. We have a tool where we can do that.
There's a market for initial access.
Yes.
So you basically just go get those username and passwords, and they will sell it, and they'll just get money off that, just selling it without actually doing any of the breaking in or any of that, just initial access.
Yeah, they just want to sell it on the dark web. You know, so there's ways to do dark web scans. It always is interesting when we go do these dark web scans and how many people come back from an organization that have their password out there. You know, password policy is critical. You know, multi-factor authentication is critical. We use a product now called Threat Locker that's a zero trust application that learns the behaviors of the machines and what they do. It creates more steps.
No, but that's key, because I think people do the same things. We're creatures of habit. So when you do something out of the norm, then all of a sudden it's like, I just set off an alarm. Someone should know we've done something we haven't done before. You go look at that.
I mean, it happened to me today. I mean, I had a call I was doing today. I got a new laptop last week, and they didn't even set up the drivers for my speaker, and I was going to get on the call, and my speaker wouldn't work, and I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and it needed to update to the drivers, and because it was trying to access the PowerShell of my computer, it set it off, and I had to go to my internal IT department and say, hey, I need to get on this call, what's going on?
And I think that's key. You have to live within the same rules as everyone else.
Yes.
Which I think is very important. I do the same thing with my staff. One of the guys was like, well, is your iPad locked down? I'm like, absolutely. I'm more locked down than you are.
Yes.
I go to my guys and someone's got to unlock it, and there's multiple people involved in that.
It's the same thing we do. I mean, me as an owner and CEO, I don't need admin access to Active Directory and back end. You know, we don't need that. For what do I need it for? You know, most owners in clients that we take over today, when we go in, the owner has admin access. You know,
you want that least privilege model.
Yes.
What is the least amount of privileges I need to do my job?
Yes. Yes. Now we've set up a security protocol inside of our company with a 50-character password that's kind of a back end that is actually written on a piece of paper and is in a safe, and we have another copy at my house in my safe. So that password is not something that I could even remember, and it's literally a back end.
But it's an emergency.
Yes.
And it's physically on a piece of paper. It's not sitting on a computer somewhere,
Yes.
which is the right way to do it.
Yes, password policies are critical.
So we look at, is there a magic bullet for protection?
No. No. There's nothing you can do.
But I think products come out and they'll say, oh, this is it. This is the one. But really, it's
I've heard it.
the layered approach to security
Yes.
is really the right approach.
Yes. Layering the way things are set up, segmenting things on the network away from other things. We walk in all the time. And
So let's get into network segmentation, because that's kind of a big deal that I think some people miss. They'll get all the tools, but then they got that flat network.
you leave yourself vulnerable to where if something happens, it has access to everything.
And that sideways attack comes in and basically crushes
And
the
it
entire
goes
environment.
really fast. We segment the network based on the layers and what access that layer has, all the way down from security cameras. People don't look at security cameras today and think about setting them up on a separate VLAN and being segmented, but it should be, one, for troubleshooting perspective, and two, for security.
But they never need, security cameras never need to come back and access anything else. They really can be isolated. And that's one of the things, I think, when you segregate your network, what can be isolated, what has to talk to each other?
How many people go into their security camera and change the admin password on the individual camera?
Yeah.
Most don't. So they don't realize they just plugged in a vulnerability into their network that now you can get access.
And that's point entry.
Yes.
Yes. You know,
Once they're in,
and there's probably wireless out there somewhere that, you know, it's...
They have sniffing tools that are sniffing for MAC addresses that are open. So it's very easy for them to do that on the open web.
Sure. So I follow you guys on most social media. You guys are always doing some type of training class on cybersecurity or something, educating people for free.
Yes, yes.
So what is the goal there? What are you trying to do?
You know, we just want to get the information out there. Look, it does bring us sales, it does bring us clients, but at the end of the day, the least amount of ransomware that gets out there and gets hacked, I mean, there's always some connection somewhere, and maybe it's a vendor of mine that's learning, maybe it's a client's vendor that's learning, that's avoiding them getting there. So we try to make sure that we're pushing that information out to the community.
Sales through education. You want the educated population, so then you make more sales. And that's kind of the right way to go.
Yes, yes.
You know, as opposed to just saying, I'm gonna come in and solve the problem with my magic. You're saying, hey, here's what this does.
They don't understand it. You know, when you think about IT and technology, it's invisible, right? It's not a tangible, concrete item that you can look at and feel and see. So educating them on the importance of having those things is I think, the first step. You know, what I've learned at doing this over the last couple of years is most clients do not understand. So therefore, we're doing the webinars, we're doing the security awareness training for our clients and non-clients. You know, we have one actually Thursday this week. We're doing on security awareness training and how important it is to use that product internally inside of your environment. You know, so I'm super excited to get on to talk about that. With Fin Security as a product we use, and I'm excited to show the community and people how they can use the product and how they can integrate it into their organization.
I appreciate everything you're doing for the community and you know, inside the business community as well. So thanks for coming on. But also, I'd like to thank our crew in back, Danny, Shannon, and Chris. They do a fantastic job behind the camera. So thank you for watching, and join us again next time on Tammany Tech 101.